Continuing part 2, the world of the names, the capital with the mystery. The world is ruled from Shushan, thence the continual repetitions and the constant changing. That is what creation is like. And it comes like that because God hides his face, because he says about himself, I am hidden. Whatever appears in creation has that aspect which is already expressed in the Shoshana, the aspect of duality, the duality of heaven and earth, light and darkness, man and woman. Now, this aspect implies motion. The antithesis opens the dialogue, brings with it the act. The antithesis, such as that between the red petals and the white ones in the Shoshana, causes motion, causes changing of places, causes changing of character, causes change in attitude and direction. Just as in the mechanics, two different forces have one resultant. Just as with human beings, the man and the woman get the child. Similarly, the antithesis implies motion, change. Even repetition comes to expression as motion. In repetition, unity is scattered in multiplicity. That is why the story of Esther is also the story of this antithesis. The Ruach HaKodesh puts the stamp of God on that story. In the story of Esther, there is the duality of Media and Persia, and in the beginning there is Shushan, the capital of the Shoshana, of Esther, in the center. Everything that comes over the world flows forth from this Shushan. That is where the rose is with the mystery. That is why on entering the temple, one first passes through the gate, bearing the name of Shushan. For one enters the world of that mystery of this Esther. In passing between the columns in the temple, the Yakin and Boaz, one knows that they too are crowned with this Shushan. For with this Shushan lies the source of origin. That is where the mystery abides. That is what that world, the feminine, that which come down here to redeem, i.e. the Neshama, calls out in the Song of Solomon, where the antitheses seek each other, seeking with complete surrender, charged with all emotions. I am the rose of Sharon and the lily of the valleys. I am among much that hides me, among much that frightens off to come near me. But I am the Shoshana. I hide the secret. The wine at the banquet. Ancient lore points at the context between man's doings and the purpose of creation, for they are intertwined. That is what the Neshama knows. Ancient lore has it that the cup in man's hand, when with the wine he chooses the alternative of hallowing it, is identical with the Shoshana, with the 13 petals on the 5 sepals. The 5 fingers of the hand of man are these 5 sepals, and the cup of wine is the 13 petals. For indeed wine is the same alternative expressed in the petals of the Shoshana and the red petals and the white ones. If man consecrated what may also cause intoxication, whatever attempts to rouse intoxication, if man will take it back to the source of origin, he stands with his hand before the beginning of the 6 days, even before the light was there. His hand is stretched towards it. His act then is in the realm of primeval power. His act then reaches unto the realm of the secret. He then bears the Shoshana. He forms part of it. Every meal is supposed to be started with the consecration of the wine, or maybe people partake of a meal without that consecration. The word for meal in Hebrew, mishta, is connected with the word for drinking. The meal is characterized by drinking wine, by this making the choice. For the rest, every passage, as for instance the passage of food through the body of man, is viewed as something flowing. For a man's meal is like the passing of all events in the life of man. Man sees things, undergoes things that happen, knows hope and despair, has friends and enemies. All this passes by him during his life. It is the flow of time passing, and he takes it all in. It is his real mealtime. Life here, life in the time that is passing, is his meal, is his mishta. As, according to ancient lore, time in this material world is expressed as water. The letter mem, the concept 40, this is how a long time, time everlasting, is expressed. Also mem means water. The passage of time is a flow. Owing to this, therefore, there is this word mishta, which is derived from drinking. At the beginning of the meal, there is the wine, drinking with the alternative. Will the meal become something sacred, a serious affair? Does it mean that life is directed towards the source of origin, or will the meal life become a question of getting muddled, getting intoxicated, a life brimful of nonsensical, senseless things, a life full of shadows, a mere play? The manner in which the wine is taken determines the nature of the meal. It is there at the very beginning, at the origin, in the hoary past, in the primordial, and therefore also the deepest depth of man at his appearance in this world. It is already determined how life is going to be. It means that every deed, every step, and every omission of a step is governed from a profoundly hidden inner life. It is there, profoundly hidden, that primordial man within us, the outer worldly man within us, holds the cup. It is there that he is connected with the Shoshana. It is there, too, that the decision is taken. It is there that whatever we encounter is taken back to the source of origin. It is there that the essential is gleaned from it. Do we do it gratuitously, or does one suffer oneself to be carried along the current, enjoying the intoxication of development, enjoying proclaiming oneself a deity? Thus, at every encounter, at every moment a meal is taken, there is a mishta. For within every man there is the neshama who knows the Shoshana. In hallowing that moment and connecting that moment actually with the source of origin, and lending purpose to that moment in the great totality of creation, in acting gratuitously, in detaching himself from the world, the Shoshana in his hand and hallowing the wine, every man can speak about the alternative. Then the mystery guides his deed. Then through the hallowing, the way of nature, the way of development can be broken through. If, however, he stands there, cup in hand, and takes the wine to acquire the zest of intoxication, the mystery will similarly guide his deed. Even though, owing to the intoxication, he thinks it is he himself that determines his deeds and his fate. In this case, the mystery guides his deeds in the sense of development, of the laws of nature. Then, in fact, he is a slave. Thus, everything is guided, as it says in the story of Esther, that in every happening, however small, the world is being guided. When individual man holds this cup in his hand, in the expression through the word, he too reaches the primordial beginning. For hallowing indeed means guiding back to the primordial beginning, to the house of the Father. So the Mishta is the passing by of everything man encounters in his life. With the Mishta, it is either hallowed or it is not. Man gets it served up in the same way as he gets his meal at the table. For in another form of appearance, the passing by of life is the same as the passing of the meal through the body of the individual man. In either case, there is a selection, a choice is made. For the body is done by the laws of nature. For life, it is done by the neshama. If the choice of the neshama is impeded, if the laws of development also decide on the choice for life, if evil is chosen, the further development away from the source of origin, then there arises tension, duality in man. It often expresses itself as disease, as uneasiness. So the table is as life. Whoever sits at table sits as a guest in life. One is here in this life to take things unto oneself, whether events or food. They hang together. The act of eating carries a secret. That is why the meal is also called seuda, a word which, in its structure and sound, shows its connection with the word sad, which means secret. It is a satiation which indicates knowledge of the secret of taking things unto oneself. And the wine, as the alternative, is there at every seuda. The Myrtle. Esther and the Shoshana. The secret of secrecy. The secret of condensing into form. The secret of the exile. The origin is the secret. Esther, as it says in the story, is also called Hadassah. Hadassah is the Hebraic word for myrtle. In ancient lore, the myrtle occupies a special place. It is, for instance, the Anaf Etz Awath, the boughs of goodly trees, mentioned in Leviticus 23:40. This myrtle is one of the four constituents from which a unit is formed at the moment of the tabernacle. The secret of this constituent part of this bough of a goodly tree is that it is the Haddas, the myrtle, that therefore the hidden, the Esther, is present in it. The tabernacle is the house with the roof, which does not isolate from heaven. The house with the roof, though, through which heaven can be seen. It is the third moment of meeting, where time and eternity touch each other, where man comes and stands before God. It is the moment of the 8 days, in which the end is expressed. It is the moment of the wars of Gog and Magog, the moment also of which Zechariah speaks of the end of this book. The myrtle has an agreeable scent. That is why it is used when the seventh day has come to an end, to receive the scent of the new. The moment of the end of the Sabbath and the appearance of the new bears the stamp of the new world of the 8th day. The myrtle is also used in tradition to give joy to the bride and bridegroom. For marriage, indeed, is the transit from the 7th day, the world where people still live in duality, but owing to the promise knows that they one day form a unity, to the 8th day where the unity becomes reality. Finally, the myrtle is also mentioned in ancient lore as being laid down with a dead body. For to our phenomenal appearance, death indeed means passing away from the 7th day, from this world, in order to enter the coming world, the 8th. So in the world of plants, the myrtle is the expression for it wherever the transit from this world to the next is present. That is why Esther is called Hadassah, myrtle, because the same transit is present in her. It is the power which affects the revelation of that which is hidden. When in the end Esther reveals who she is, there is an indescribable reversal. There is the overthrow of all norms and standards and values. For that reason, ancient lore has it that the scent of the myrtle is sweet, but her taste is bitter. She is sweet of scent to the world where scents count. It is the world of Mordecai. Her taste is bitter to the world where taste still counts. That is the world of Haman. To the world of development, the taste of the myrtle is bitter, for the myrtle is a sign of the end of that world, for the coming world, the world of unity, of coming home, of redemption. The scent is sweet. For that world, the myrtle is a sign that there is redemption. Esther is this myrtle. That is why she is called Hadassah. The hidden also expresses itself in this world as the myrtle. To this world of the body of development, she brings bitterness. To those that see the coming and live in what is coming, she has the sweet scent. That is why the Cedakim are also compared to the myrtle, for they too live the hidden life in the exile. They too have the sweet scent and the bitter taste. Or, as it is sometimes said, the myrtle next to its sweet scent has no taste whatsoever. The Cedakim too are this myrtle. Ancient lore here refers to the words of Zechariah in the 1st chapter of the book, which, starting from the 8th verse, speaks about this myrtle. Esther is said to be 74 years old. How do people know? 74 is the quantitative expression of the word Hadassah. The myrtle has to do with this absolute concept of the 74, and Esther also is identical with the myrtle.